This is Lynn Oz, and wow, so much is happening with this presidential election and last night's debate. Well, there was a lot of news about that. And then we've got this news with Russia preparing for a nuclear war with the United States, and that's huge right now, too. Well, Ronnie with GetTheTea.com is on the line with me. And Ronnie, you and I were talking about the debate and how you feel and that it just kind of ties into all of this Russia stuff. And I think it would be very relevant if you would share that with my listeners.
Well, first of all, anybody that watched the debate last night, a very interesting debate. I think Trump did a pretty good job until about 45 minutes into it, and then she laid the trap. And part of the trap was Putin, how Putin was Trump's friend. And I saw this on the last debate and then, of course, this debate. And he was saying, I really don't know Putin, and he says, if we could get along, I think that would be great. Now, I think there's some people that would think, oh, no, Russia is our enemy. We don't ever want to get along with them. And this is only because the mass media has sold this to you. Putin's really not that bad a person. I mean, obviously, there's no one that's perfect in office. But this is, I'll use a word that they used last night. This is rigged, and we'll talk about that in just a second. But Trump fell into the trap that Hillary set for him, and from 45, 50 minutes into the debate to the end of the debate, I feel Trump failed pretty miserably because he got so caught up in the trap. In my opinion, he was bleeding, and you got to realize that they and them are not behind Trump. And most people know that. But there is a bigger agenda here because they and them want America to go down. So if they can whisper that Putin is the bad dude with, and he's going to cause nuclear war, and Putin doesn't want nuclear war any more than we do. And when I say we as a nation, not they and them do want some buttons to be pushed for whatever reason, I guess, to bring down population. And it's kind of a scary thing because we will probably, if we went against Russia, we would probably lose. And if we go against China, we will probably lose. Now, you have to think about that for a second. All the weapons that Russia carries and all the weapons that China carries, and by the way, if you go back in time, you'll find out that they had actual drills they did together, Russia and China together. So if those two superpowers, which each one could take us on and beat us, and everybody will, there might be some people say, oh, Ronnie, you're anti-America because you think they're going to win. It's like, no, I'm just a realist. That's what they do. They train, China trains, there's 200 million soldiers in China alone. So if this comes to pass, and China will use North Korea as their front. So this world war that's coming, hopefully it's not coming, but if it does come, they and them are instigating this through the media, how we believe things, how we do things. And I think Trump knows about this, but unfortunately he fell into the trap when Hillary laid it and used the word rigged upon him. And the word rigged was interesting because she eloquently laid it out about all the things that he said, and this is rigged, and this is rigged, and this is rigged. And she made it sound like everything that comes his way, he thinks it's rigged. And quite honestly, it's kind of funny. Most everything is rigged. So by bringing the truth out in the trap way that she did, he fell right into it. Because if you say, hey, my marriage was rigged and this was rigged and, my company's rigged and the TV show was rigged and, the politicians are rigged and the news corporations are rigged, pretty soon people go, what's wrong with this guy? Okay. Even though there's truth in this. So she got him really good. And of course they go to the lower name calling and everything else they do. And it's really sad because I believe that she is going to be our president unless we face a miracle, because even if the polls are rigged, which they probably are, if everything is rigged, they have rigged it in favor of Hillary Clinton. The kicker is, will she make it health wise? That is the real kicker. She has something wrong with her brain. And so, and I don't mean that in a bad way. I mean that in a health sense. There's something wrong with her brain and how it fires. So, does she have MS? Does she have some? I have no idea, but there's something definitely wrong. So how she pulled off these debates is beyond me too. She actually did pretty good and didn't look sickly. So we are in for a ride. I think interesting. They used to say, the days of Moses was an exciting time. Well, this is going to make the days of Moses look like a boring walk. So it's going to be very interesting what's about ready to happen.
Well, yes. And it just seems like with this whole campaign, it's been one thing after another.
Well, and in this campaign, which is anybody that's probably over the age 40, 45, has never seen anything like this. And I thought another interesting element that she used last night was when she brought up about Ronald Reagan and how he came against Ronald Reagan and the Reagan administration. And that was that was eloquent work on her side, because most people my age and older loved Reagan. And Reagan did some pretty nasty things too, but I think there's some of the nasty things he really didn't understand what he was doing. But Reagan was very well loved. And so when she put out in the debate how he came against Reagan, there was another score in the hoop for Hillary. And she was very polished. He's not very polished. You can't really get to her. And every time that Trump did get to her with something very truthful and he had some good things to say, she would smile, and I thought it was funny. I got to throw this in there. She smiled like the Joker, in Batman. He's like, and it was like, my wife even said, "Look at her smile. It's flat out evil." And I was like, yeah, it is. It was every time he had a real truth, she would have this really jack-o'-lantern type smile. And it gave me the willies, it literally goosebumps, chills down my back. So we are interested. We can still stop this, but I don't know. Everybody's listening to the polls, and in my opinion, the polls are very rigged. If you look at the last mediator, one of them was Anderson Cooper, which is CNN boy. And CNN, I double dog dare you to find something positive about Donald Trump on CNN. Good luck, because you won't find it. So most of the mass media, which is owned by they and them, Rupert Murdoch, so on and so forth, this is something that you're going to see slander against Trump. Many of the allegations of the groping of women are made up. I'm not saying he's totally innocent, but I think they took something that happened and times it by 100. And that way he could look bad, because, any way you cut it, any way you slice it, you have somebody that should be in a federal prison that's going to run for president. That alone is extraordinary.
Well, yeah. And in fact, I was looking at an article. It was on End of the American Dream. It was Michael Snyder's website. And he actually had an article that said 10 signs that an all-out attempt is being made to sabotage the Trump campaign. And he listed some interesting things. Yeah. If you don't mind, I'll take a moment and share some of the things he listed that kind of go in conjunction with what you're saying. Number one, he had Gateway Pundit is reporting on rumors that it was actually a close advisor to Paul Ryan, who wants to run for president in 2020, by the way, that leaked the now infamous Trump audio recording to the press. Number two, The Blaze is reporting that there is a mass hunt underway at NBC News for more damaging comments that can be used against Donald Trump. Number three, according to Bill O'Reilly, there are 3 major media organizations that have ordered their employees to destroy Donald Trump. Number 4, there's a major push to have tapes from The Apprentice released, which supposedly contain even more damaging things than were said on the audio recording released by the Washington Post. Number 5, According to Mike Cernovich, there are widespread reports of local GOP officials sabotaging the Trump campaign on the local level in critical swing states. Number 6, USA Today is reporting that 180 prominent Republican leaders have either denounced Trump or revoked their endorsements of him since the release of the tape containing Trump's lewd remarks. Number 7, George W. Bush's niece, Lauren, has announced that she is going to be voting for Hillary Clinton. Number 8, Glenn Beck has admitted that he considered voting for Hillary Clinton, but that instead he will be voting for Constitution Party candidate Darrell Castle. And we're almost done here. Number 9, Christianity Today, the largest and most prominent magazine for evangelical Christians, has just posted a scathing anti-Trump editorial. And finally, number 10, the mainstream media is breathlessly proclaiming that civil war has broken out in the Republican Party. And to a large extent, according to Michael Snyder, they are actually correct. Never before in U.S. political history have we seen a major party so divided less than a month before a presidential election. Now, if Donald Trump can overcome the release of the lewd tape, the sabotage of his campaign by members of his own party, and the worst pounding that I believe any presidential candidate has ever taken from the mainstream media to win the election, it'll be the biggest miracle in American political history by far.
Well, I'm going to take kind of the road that Sean Hannity takes. And I've never really been a fan of Sean Hannity, but he's actually performed this past year, in my opinion, very well. And where I'm going with this is he is obviously pro Donald Trump. And there's a lot of accusations, and I believe some of them are true. I really do. But there are some, again, it's like times 100. And you have Glenn Beck, who is Mormon background, and this religion is very much a part of politics, very much a part of politics. And quite honestly, so is Christianity, huge part of politics. And so for people to vote, and this is where it's a hard deal, and people are probably going to be upset with me, but I don't understand. I mean, yes, he did some of this, and we don't know that for sure, but let's just say he did part of what he did. And I'm not saying it's right. I think it's disgusting that how he, and especially this is really not something just about Trump. If anybody really wants to go there, you're talking about Hillary Clinton and Bill Clinton. Bill Clinton was having sex in the White House. So let's please not forget this. And by the way, Hillary knew about it and was partaking in some of that. And that's a fact. So when you look at the whole sex scandal, we'll call it a sex scandal with Trump, let's understand that, I don't think Hillary should be calling the kettle black, because quite honestly, she is just as involved. That's not counting.
Yeah, if you look at both of their records, even if, like you said, let's say Trump is guilty, her record, I mean, she's got murder, tons and tons of obvious lies, and tons of scandals compared to Trump. What's the deal?
It's huge. And, I watched her on the debate, talk about her Clinton Foundation as if it was squeaky clean and had angels flying around in the buildings. And what's interesting is it's a murderous money hacking place that she doesn't help anybody. They just bank the money. There's money missing. And ask Vince Foster. Oh, that's right. We can't. He's dead. But points being is we have this president who took 25,000 emails, compromised our security, which she should be in federal prison, but she's going to talk about how he's coming against America. And for the Christians to sit here inside and say, okay, you want Hillary Clinton now because he's groping women. Well, first of all, can you prove that? No, you're just going by the mass media, mass Christianity, mass media. It's the same thing. So, okay, fine. You're going to go that way? Then I'll go with Sean Hannity. And Sean Hannity says when she gets in office and she does what she's going to do, and you guys whine and squeal and cry and you're suffering, I'm just going to point to you. You're the one that caused this.
Yeah, it just gets, anything with the name Clinton attached to it anymore just gets more and more disgusting, Don't you think?
I think it's very disgusting. If you look at, I mean, they're drug traders. I mean, they were big into the opium game. This is why they're over into Afghanistan and Tehran and all of these foreign countries is because of opium. So, if you do your background on the Clintons, I do not see how I cannot fathom how any Christian could vote for Hillary Christian and really claim to know God at any level at all. That is the truth for me. Or excuse me, for voting for Hillary. I cannot see them voting, true Christian voting for Hillary Clinton and really have any kind of understanding about God. I can't see it.
Yeah, I thought that was funny when you accidentally said Hillary Christian. Wouldn't that be ironic if her name was Christian, her last name Christian? But
That would be disgusting.
yeah, I mean, anytime you have any presidential candidate running, you're going to have all this dirt come out on them, and everybody has dirt. But like I said, Hillary by far outdoes, I think, anybody that's ever run that I'm aware of, as far as all of her dirt.
Well, and here's another thing that we need to understand is the Clintons are very much for population control. Very much so. Okay. And I thought how it was interesting how she was even talking about taxes and coming against the rich. And I'm like, okay, you were bankrupt at one time, but you're not now. You're very wealthy. So you're going to come against yourself? I don't think so. But what's interesting is they really are for population control. So if you can get Russia torqued at you, then maybe we can push some buttons. And Hillary she's on camera talking about how she has no problem with nuclear warfare. So she's going to push some buttons and send some missiles up. And of course, again, if she goes against Russia or she goes against China, they outnumber us, probably 10-1. So what's going to happen is our West Coast probably won't be there anymore. It'll probably be wiped out. So if you're going to vote for Hillary Clinton, I really think you need to move to the Midwest, because that's going to be a little safer for you. Because if you're voting for Hillary Clinton, I'm looking for the West Coast to be wiped out pretty soon. Maybe that'll be one of her things that she does within the first 100 days of her presidency.
It wouldn't surprise me, and she would get away with it, and nothing would happen to her. She would somehow have protection. I mean, with everything that has come out on this woman, I'm just amazed that she was even allowed to be part of the debate, or that she's even permitted to be part of any of this, to be honest.
Well, and I also think it's very interesting, too, that, here she's talking about all these things. And I think she's really wanting to slow suffer. One of the things she's going for is the Codex, which basically means that all the supplements, and people might say this about me, say, oh, so you might lose I lose the company, I lose the company. It's that, you cannot control things that happen. But in her realm, it is her dream to where she takes away all the supplements, and they will have to be, if you want a vitamin C, if you want a vitamin B, whatever, you're going to have A, a doctor's appointment, and B, a prescription. And that way they can make sure, and then you don't know if they're GMO free or organic or anything like that. So you're going to be taking, and again, you got to look in her back pocket. Monsanto is there. So we have huge problems that she thinks she can fix. I noticed she said, oh yeah, Trump thinks he can fix everything. I think that's really what she's saying. I can fix everything. It's all about me. So we are going to be in some very, very troubled times. Very, very, I think they call it in the Bible, the tribulation. We're definitely going to be in that. So it's going to be interesting times.
Well, and you've mentioned this before, what do you foresee happening to healthcare, to the healthcare of the Americans? What kind of situation do you see happening if she is indeed elected?
I don't know. I see things like a little dark, I guess, but I see that, let's say you have a condition. Let's say you have high blood pressure. You will be forced, and notice my words, make it very clear. You will be forced to take a pharmaceutical. You will be forced to pay the pharmaceutical price. If you do not take the pharmaceutical, then what's going to happen is they will cut you off of all health care. And basically, if you have some kind of blood pressure problem, or it doesn't matter what the disease is, then you will just suffer and die. And I think that's how they're going to run it. So it's going to be a force issue, or you're going to be able to bail and literally they will give you no help whatsoever. So you won't be able to get to supplements because the Codex thing will kick in. So you won't have supplements to get you on the side. So you're basically, some of us have conditions out there that if you don't have something, if you don't have a supplement or if you don't have a pharmaceutical, you're done. I mean, things get bad and, it's a matter of time. So a lot of people are just, maintenance, you might say. A lot of pharmaceuticals are just maintenance. You take the pharmaceutical and it helps you to hear. I've always been a proponent that your pharmaceuticals never heal you, never cure you. These are important words. Doctor, I'm going to take this blood pressure medicine. How long till I can get off of it? Okay, I'm going to take this cholesterol pill. How long till I get off of it? And they never, ever tell you you're going to get off of it. They tell you how long you're going to be on it. And the word is forever. Forever. And this is why I'm not against pharmaceuticals. I think there's some pharmaceuticals we absolutely have to have. But on the same token, I like to hear the words heal and cure. And there are some doctors out there that are pro supplements. They are pro different vitamins and whatever. And they will try to get you on that as well as maybe say, okay, but you do need this for a pharmaceutical. Those are wonderful doctors. And guess what? They're being booted out of the healthcare industry. And so what we're going to be left with is probably like Hitler type people that are in the health industry. And then they're just going to say, this is what you're going to do. And if you don't want to do it, they have an AMA and it's called Against Medical Advice. So they say, you take this and they note everything down. Everything's computer now. The doctor doesn't walk in and look you in the eye and say, blah, 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 blah. He looks at a computer and never looks at your face. That's the new healthcare system. And believe me, Hillary's behind it because it wasn't Obama's idea for this. It was Hillary's back in the 90s.
She is going to further destroy this nation even more than what Barack Obama has. And, I think that people need to get healthy now while there's still time before these things happen so that they can function and so that they have a fighting chance.
Well, I thought it interesting. I didn't mean to interrupt you, but I thought it interesting.
Oh, it's okay.
That one of our products called pine bark extract, okay, and it does some beautiful things. It boosts kidney function. It helps with retinopathy. It helps with arthritis. What else does it do? It stimulates the immune system. It's great for allergies. This is a really, really, really super, really, did I say really? Great product. I shipped it to a customer in Norway, and it came back. It came back as an illegal substance. And I thought, oh my gosh. So Norway's probably already under, and if you're in Norway, I'm so sorry because you can't have pine bark. But they looked at this as an illegal, I think they even used the word drug, which it's not a drug. It's an extract from a pine tree. So it's very interesting how some of the countries, and we haven't had too many, but some of the countries, you can't get certain products in, even when it's a supplement. So what is that telling you?
Oh, certainly. And it's going to happen here. Everything we're seeing happen everywhere else is going to eventually happen here. And we're seeing this already with things about our economy, the internet, and just everything. And in the healthcare industry, even with this Obamacare, when that came out, you have to have Obamacare. If you don't have it, well, if you don't have any insurance, you have to have something. And if you don't, you have to have Obamacare or you have to pay all this money. And, it's just becoming more socialistic of a society as far as I'm concerned.
Well, it's becoming a force society. Nothing's by force. Can you imagine you date somebody and then you say, okay, we're forced to get married because we had 2 dates. So we're forced by the government to get married.
Yeah.
We can only date once, but if we date twice, then we're forced. It's a law that we have to get married. Can you imagine things like that? I mean, this is kind of, and people say that's absurd. Right. And it's absurd to charge you money on your taxes if you don't have health care. Because most of the people don't have health care. They didn't have the money to get health care. So is it really going to help them to get a penalty from the government, from the IRS to say, okay, now we're going to tax you more because you didn't have health care?
Hey, maybe we can get Hillary on your products. Then she won't need, I don't know if you heard, not to totally change the subject, but back to Hillary. There's this strange man that's been spotted carrying what may be I don't know how to pronounce it. It looks like diazepam pen. And he gets really close to her all the time. And diazepam is a drug that's used like to relax you and stuff, and it can be used for people who have spasms or people who have anxiety. Well, this strange guy has been seen, and they got a close up shot. It's on the Political Insider of this device in his hand, and that's exactly what it looks like. And he gets really close to Hillary Clinton, so she may need some of your tea to clean her out, because she's got a lot of garbage blocked up in her that seems to be coming out in different ways. But I think if she gets the tea from your website,
it'd be good for her to get the tea. But these people are on their own road, and I know there's some people and they go, oh yeah, Barack Obama was watching my video last night, and I'm going to be honest, I don't think he watches my video. I don't think Hillary Clinton's going to watch my video, and I kind of hope they don't, because they would just, they don't understand my heart in this company in Get the Tea is to help people. And again, I've told my story many times. I got jacked up, and so I didn't want to go to the doctor and be on a pharmaceutical drug. Again, what are we talking about? We're talking about drugs. You're on a drug. You're on a drug. You're on a drug. And it's an oxymoron. It's very interesting. As a kid, we don't want you on drugs. Mad. And people getting mad that you're on drugs. Oh, you shouldn't be on drugs. You shouldn't be on drugs. But yet, the people saying you shouldn't be on drugs are on pharmaceuticals, which is drugs. So I just thought it interesting. So for me, I didn't want to be on drugs, but I did want to heal. And this is why I started the company. So I really want to help people. A lot of people are like, oh, supplements don't work, and these are the same people that go and eat Big Macs. It's like, I'm sorry, that's the way you feel. But unfortunately for you, it's too bad you don't believe this way, because they do help. I've taken triglycerides down, and I've taken cholesterol down. I've taken blood pressure down just with products that I have. And cardiovascular, I mean, that's the healthy way to make sure you don't have a heart attack. So these are important issues. And the tea, nobody wants to have colon cancer. So the tea, it's like, I've been on the tea for 10 years. People say, how much tea should you drink? Every single day I drink tea. And you know what? My body likes it. Literally, if I go a couple days without tea, my body starts craving it. It's like, where's your tea? Where's your tea? And, and I start feeling yucky, and I feel dirty, and as soon as I drink the tea, it's like, I just had a shower. It's great. So people don't pay attention to their insides. They seem to pay attention. They get their hair done. They get their nails done. They get all these, they get tummy tucks, blah, 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 blah. But they don't ever take care of their insides. What is with that? Because the insides, when it stops, you're done.
Yeah, and for these women, for instance, and men too, who are concerned about their appearance, and they take these women who get, all these facial jobs done, out, and they pay all this money and they get their hair done. But your skin is an organ. And if you've got a bunch of garbage inside of you, it comes out where? Well, one of the places it comes out is through your skin. And this can cause breakouts and all sorts of problems on your skin, weird rashes. Yep. And everything like that. So if you clean that out of yourself the way you're supposed to and get the toxins out, then you're going to see the results in your skin. And maybe you won't need to pay hundreds of dollars to get some expensive facial or get plastic surgery or whatever.
I know a woman that she's almost 60 years old. She looks like she's about 40 years old. And I said, oh my God, her skin is like so beautiful. And she goes, you know what? My mom told me a long time ago, just take vitamin E. I've been taking vitamin E my whole life. And she goes, it's like anti-aging, so it's like, I go, wow. So it's a natural supplement. See, and this is how I look at it. God put this stuff on the earth for us to take care of ourselves. He wasn't stupid. We are, but he wasn't. So I think it's interesting how man has gone and created synthetic drugs, things that, they supposedly invented. And I won't even go into that subject. And now none of it actually works to heal. I mean, I guess I'd be really pro-pharmaceutical if I could say this drug right here helps this person heal. Not just helps the person, but heal, cure. Some of those words that they don't like to throw around in the doctor's office. So to me, it's like, I want to be cured. If I have something, I want to be cured. I don't want to just get by. and we're on get by drugs. And in the old days, when I say the old days, 1910, 1920s, all the pharmaceuticals, not all, better retract, a lot of the pharmaceuticals were plant-based. They were all God stuff. Now they're not. I don't know what the percentage is, but I bet you it's less than 20% are have any kind of plant-based. Because anytime that I hear I'll say, is that plant-based or synthetic? And they always look at me funny like, how dare you ask this? But they'll always say synthetic. Okay, that's what I thought. Does it heal you or cure you? Oh, it doesn't. Oh, okay. All right. I see where you're going with this. And how much is that? Oh, yeah, you took a statin drug for your cholesterol and it's running you about $60 a month. $60 for these little pills. 60. Okay. And it doesn't heal you. Got it. And it causes muscle damage. Oh, okay. I get it. All right. So it's scary stuff.
Yeah, it is. And people really need to get healthy and, stop feeling sick all the time. Now, this doesn't mean that people are going to necessarily be perfect or never get sick, as we've mentioned before, but that tea is one of by far your most awesome product, because it really does clean you out and it really makes you feel better. And it just really, you get your energy back, because all those nasty toxins and things that build up in your body and build up in your intestines and everywhere else just make you feel so tired and so sick all the time. And then you're feeling like, what's wrong with me? You don't have that motivation to do things that you need to do or do things that you want to do. And it's because 9 times out of 10 of all these toxins, and all those toxins can cause so many different complications and diseases. Yes.
Problems. Yep, absolutely. And people don't realize, and I've heard this too. I want to comment here. You can cut it out if you need to, but I got a comment here. A lot of people will say, "Oh, you're just having this guy on because you're selling out." I want to go there. Lynn doesn't know that I'm going to say this, but I could say this. So these people that are out there on the wall telling you about what's going on, what's coming around the corner, and they're selling out to some guy that's selling supplements, and I guess they're prostituting themselves. I don't think so. Number one, when you have a supplement company and you take this stuff and you feel better, which that's why we have all the testimonies on their website, getthetea.com, then you're going to find out that, yeah, guess what? It really works. Number two, if we're going to stay in the game and fight the good fight, in other words, we're going to come against they and them, the bad guys, don't you think it'd be a good idea to feel well? I'm not sure if we're all sick or dead or having heart attacks or whatever else that comes along. I don't think it's a good idea. We can't fight any good fights. We can't elect anybody good if we're sick. So to me, if you're fighting the good fight, you're going to get on board with the people that are talking about what's coming around the corner, warning you about what's coming around the corner, and get behind them and help them. This is about, we need to help one another, or there's going to be nothing left of our country. And if Hillary gets into office, and it looks very strongly that she will, we are in trouble. Not just the supplement company, as a whole, we are going to be in trouble. And the Christians that say that we're going to go vote for Hillary, I'm going to point the finger and say, you did this.
It's really amazing to me how many Christians are supporting Hillary. I just read an article the other day in Israel Today News, and it was this person talking about how they supported Hillary, and I was flabbergasted. And I just can't believe anybody in their right mind would vote for her. And then this situation happened with a decision UNESCO made about Israel and about the Temple Mount, saying that the Jews didn't have any rights to it. Yes. Basically, they had no heritage there, which is a lie. And of course, everyone was outraged, including, guess who? Hillary Clinton. I was like, why on earth would she care about that? And well, that's because she's trying to get the vote of the Jewish people. But she doesn't have any love for Israel or the Jewish nation or care about them. It's all for show. So,
I know. She talks about women where she's come against women. She's done trade deals with countries that totally demean women. So I don't understand where she's going there. She talks about black people and how they're great and what wonderful. And yet you'll never see her ever. She doesn't hire black people, and if she does, she pays them less, which is she's always talking about equal pay, and she pays them less, and that's a fact check. So I don't understand how. I guess it's just the mass media or people just being stupid believing in this stuff, but I don't see how she gets away with her lies. Maybe because she tells her lie as if it's a truth. But if you go to, there's actually a man named David John Oates who does what is called reverse speech. And when you reverse speech her, and that's a long story, but when you reverse speech her, you can tell what's really going on, the truth behind her, what's in her soul. And it's not for you, that's for sure. It's definitely, there's an agenda.
Definitely. And I can't remember now if you mentioned or if I mentioned, I don't think I did, about during the debate, the thing that was behind her, the hidden message where it said,
Yeah.
about the rigged.
The rigged, yeah. Everything is rigged. And really, when she came against Donald about, he thinks everything's rigged, he thinks everything's rigged, it's kind of a statement. How do I put this? It's like if, okay, it's like this. If you see a couple and the guy says to the girl, I love you. I love you. I love you. I love you so much. I love you so much. For me, I question that because love is not something you have to say every 2 seconds. So you're actually saying, I don't love you. And a lot of people will say, oh, I'm not scared. I'm not scared of anything. You ever see those people? I'm not scared. I'm not scared. You know what they're telling you? I'm very scared. So when Hillary was saying, Donald, you think everything's rigged, she was saying something in that most people don't even understand, but a few people picked up, there's a few articles on it, that she was basically saying, yes, Donald, it's rigged, and it's rigged in my favor. And basically when she brought the Putin deal out, Putin doesn't like her. Okay, so she wanted to make sure she sunk Donald with the Putin comment.
I can't imagine why Putin doesn't like her.
Yeah, I wonder why that is.
I have no idea.
So so it's interesting. Her verbiage said one thing, but I think if you caught into her soul, it was saying another thing. Yes, this is rigged, and number two, I'm going to go at it with Putin because that's gonna depopulize the West Coast for sure, and maybe more depending on what they do. That they don't want to be in our area, they don't want to be in our space, but they're also Putin won't take anything off of anybody. I'll tell you that right now.
It's really a quite, I'll call it, interesting day when you see a lot of Americans for the first time ever, really, that in history, as far as I can think of, that Americans actually liked the leader of Russia more than our own people. Yeah. I mean, there's a lot of Americans who just love Putin.
Right.
And, that think he's the greatest thing in this world. Me, honestly, and I may get a lot of people mad at me by saying this, but Putin's a lot better than what we've got. And I can't help it. He really is. I'm not saying he's perfect or there's nothing bad.
No, I don't think there's a perfect leader out there, but I think he cares more for the people and protecting the people than it seems like Obama would throw us under the bus if chance he got.
That's what I'm talking about.
As long as he can save himself. Yeah, just as long as he can save himself. And I think Hillary is probably 2 times Obama. So I think she's going to throw 2 people under the bus to save her soul, So, I mean, we're in some, like I said, I would say this, Lynn, we need a miracle in a big way because our world's going to change abruptly if this woman goes into office. Yeah, and I just want to
clarify there what I said about Putin. That's what I'm talking about how he is very devoted. He's a devoted leader, seemingly so from what we're seeing, to his people. And our press over here tries to make him out to be hideous. And there are a lot of lies that are told, and I'm sure that goes both ways. But he seems genuinely to care for his people. And like you said, Obama would throw us under the bus. Hillary would throw us under the bus in reverse and back up over us. So Putin seems devoted to his people. And I wish that we had a leader like that.
I wish we did too, but we need to, the sad thing is there were some other leaders that I was hoping would be, a lot of people say Paul Ryan. Oh yeah, Paul Ryan will be good, and then of course Ted Cruz. Everybody was really after Ted Cruz. Oh, he would have been the miracle man, and it's like he is totally pro-establishment. And if you look at his wife, she's another Hillary on the upbringing. So they were already talking at the time of having Heidi, which Heidi grew up in my area in California, and they were already talking about Heidi running for president and to ditch Ted Cruz. So they and them really like Heidi. They really like her. So you're probably going to see her in the future. But there you have to look at, and this is another thing I thought I'd bring up real quick. Is it's very interesting. Okay, so they want Heidi, they want Ted Cruz. Okay. But what's really interesting is no one is paying attention, and this was not brought up at all in either of the debates that I remember. The vice presidents, where is Pence and Cain? Usually you see the president and the vice, especially a month before election, they're always buddying around and everything. You're not seeing any of that with Trump. You're not seeing any of that with Hillary. So I find it, and here's the other thing too, is when you look at, say, Pence versus Trump, and this is another thing we'd have to worry about. If Trump did win, they've got it all set up that he would probably be assassinated because Pence is an establishment boy. And when you look at Cain, same thing. They're establishment. They want to make sure they cover themselves. And so like I said, I'm not sure. We actually need a divine intervention. I think that would be the best way to go, a divine intervention, because everything else is looking pretty nasty.
But you know what? It's getting so crappy, I think, for now, that the best thing that we can do is get the tea by going to getthetea.com and get all the garbage out of our systems, because I think there's...
Well, at least we'll have some energy to watch this stuff.
Yeah, because I think there's going to be a lot more. And there sure is...
Also, I also wanted to state, too, that we just came out with a new product that I'm pretty doggone excited about. Everybody knew about my colostrum and how the colostrum really helps your tummy. If you got stomach problems, and boy, colostrum is the way to go. And we had the organic vanilla, which is really that's fun that it's flavored and it tastes good. So, when you're taking stuff, it's nice to have it taste good. Well, guess what? I started thinking about it and I go, you know what? I wonder how chocolate would do. So we are now the first one in the industry that has chocolate colostrum, and it's sweetened with stevia. So if you are a diabetic, you can still have it, and it's like having a glass of chocolate milk, except what it does for you is incredible. It will heal your stomach, and it will make you feel great. So if you have stomach problems, chocolate colostrum is for you. And if you're not a chocolate fan, you still got the organic vanilla. There's both.
Yeah, and why don't you tell the listeners too, just to remind those who have not heard you before on with me, about your YouTube channel.
My YouTube channel is Health Matters Now, and I just do little videos, little fun videos, and sometimes a little bit in the politics. I mean, people don't realize that Monsanto and Hillary Clinton are, and this is really a bad deal. If you look at the bees that are disappearing, and which again, by the way, when bees go extinct and they're on their way to being extinct, as soon as the last bee dies, we as a human race have 5 years to live. So that should be alarming. I didn't hear that on the pulpits last night. You probably won't hear that. You won't hear about chemicals in the air. You won't hear about that. You won't hear about geoengineering. So there's a lot of things they're not talking about. And of course, nothing was brought up last night about Monsanto, which, by the way, is part of the reason why the honeybees are dying. This is not about just us losing our honey. Forget that. This is about pollination. This is about our food supply. So again, I want you to think about this. When the last bee dies, we have 5 years as a human race to live. Then it's over. So we are facing multiple problems, not just Hillary problems. So again, if you want to learn this stuff, Health Matters Now at YouTube, Health Matters Now. And like I said, they're just little 3, 4, 5 minute videos to kind of get you caught up on stuff. And then you can look at specials and all kinds of stuff on the products. And I do a lot of explaining on products and all that kind of stuff. So it's kind of fun.
So everybody, please go to getthetea.com and check out Ronnie's products. And I encourage everybody to try the tea. You will not regret it. Trust me. It will make you feel so much better. And check out his YouTube channel. And Ronnie, a lot of the listeners actually like those shorter videos. I get frequent complaints from people about hour-long videos because they just don't have time for it. So, be sure and check out his videos because he has a lot of insight and information that's going to help you. And one thing I really love about you, Ronnie, is you genuinely, and you alluded to this earlier, you genuinely care about people and their health. You went through the ringer with your health some time ago, and you just genuinely care about people. And that is, like I said, one of the big things that I really love about you.
Well, thank you. Again, it's, when I was in radio for 12 years, it was all about bringing the truth out. And I think when I fell into finding out what truth is really happening and all the truths that we've been lied to so many times, I won't go into that. I think it wore on me and wore on my health. And that was, between that and me not eating right, not understanding how the foods work, how, carbs work, how sugars work. People don't realize that sugar is a toxin. And when you're having sugars every night, every single night, and most people do. And even if you say, oh, okay, I'm not going to have sugar, you're still having sugar every day because it's in most of our products. I mean, it's in spices, it's in all kinds of stuff. So this is hurting us. Companies like Coca-Cola and PepsiCo and so on and so forth, they're literally killing us. And it's not their fault. We're doing it. We're buying the product. And we don't realize what that's doing to our body. We're not meant to drink soda pop. So I think I jacked myself up pretty bad, and I said, okay, well, I got to start from scratch. And what do I do now? And that's what I did. And I started changing my diet. I started, looking into supplements. And then, of course, I found the tea, and I made the tea very popular. And then I got into supplements and said, okay, well, let's get organic and GMO-free supplements. And how can we make people feel better? How can we, I had stomachache for 2 years and I was dying. I thought, oh my God, I don't know if I want to live anymore. When you have a flu-like stomachache, you don't feel like doing anything. And I found the colostrum. I said, bam, I was feeling great. So I'm like, oh my gosh, how can I make that better? So I am genuinely, my heart is always about truth. And it's about helping people and making them feel better. So I enjoy that. And it helps me get up in the morning.
Well, me too. It helps me to know that I'm helping people by putting out this information for them so that they can have the resources to start feeling better, because I've tried so many different things to feel better, when the allergies really hit me. And this year has been the worst allergy season ever. And I cannot imagine how I would be feeling right now if I had not tried your products, because using your products regularly make me feel a lot better. I would be miserable right now. So thank you, Ronnie. So I just want to encourage everyone, go to getthetea.com, check out Ronnie's products. Let Ronnie know that you heard about his products from this channel, Lynn Oz. That way it helps me, because Ronnie helps me out. So please be sure and let him know that you heard about him from Lynn Oz. Well, Ronnie, we're about out of time. Did you have any final thoughts you wanted to share with everybody, or comments?
Yeah, the final thoughts, and I've said this before in different places, but if you really like what Lynn does and you really feel that she does a good job, support her. And the great way to do it is you can get supplements that is helping yourself, but that's supporting her too. So you're kind of doing a double whammy. You're taking care of you and you're taking care of her. And it's kind of a win-win situation. And without these warriors on the wall telling us about what's going on, then we have nothing. We would just be sidestruck by some huge tidal wave and never know what's going on, never be able to prepare, and never know the lies that are being told to us. So again, if you really want to help Lynn, let her know, and if you're buying the products from me, let me know that you heard it from her, and this will help her and the products will help you, and we're all happy.
That's right. We will all be happy and healthy. Well, Ronnie, thank you again for coming on the show. I love having you, and it's always an interesting conversation, particularly where Hillary is involved. Mm-hmm. And again, everybody, that's getthetea.com. And thank you again, Ronnie, and I hope you enjoy the rest of your day.
Thank you.